welcome to Kazakhstan. Welcome to our beautiful Almaty.
Thank you.
I'm very excited actually to know that I'm talking to a Nigerian princess. It's very exciting. It's an honor. So first thing I want to ask you about your title. Of course, it's very curious actually about your status. How does it reflect in your career and life at all?
But you know, the interesting thing is that I have always sort of not hidden, but I haven't brought to the forefront the fact that I'm a princess. And it's only recently that I sort of embraced it fully.
Oh, really?
And started sharing, even on social media, that, oh, by the way, my great-great-grandfather was King Amakri. Yeah, you know, the third.
From time to time.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's because I was brought up believing that you need to be humble and... You know, and that's not what defines me.
Real princess.
Yeah. That's not what defines who I am, right?
Of course. Your personality.
Yes. And but now I'm embracing it because I think with maturity, you realize that, you know, it's actually a good thing to embrace yourself wholly, fully. You know, and to accept and say, you know, and I even tell my children, I'm like, you know, guess what? You're a prince of the Kalabari people, you know, and hopefully that will help them behave better, you know, because it'll discipline them.
Maybe it has some, you know, strict obligations or duties that you have to follow no matter what, no matter you're a popular singer.
But you know what? It's more behaviorally. So it's more about the way you behave, the example that you set. There's certain things, I just wouldn't do. First of all, because my mother, because my mother would be appalled. She would say, "Gina, remember who you are." So that's something that I grew up with, you know, that those words, and so and I think it's informed the way I behave, the way I treat others. I mean, let's put it this way: some years ago, the Queen, that's Queen Elizabeth, rest her soul, asked me to perform, and she asked for me specifically, and I think I know why. I think the reason they kept asking me back is because I have no skeletons in my closet. There's nothing you can find saying, oh, Gina did that, or Gina was very naughty when she was growing up, she got drunk.
You
Never.
don't have such kind of PR.
You know, I don't have any of that. No.
Actually, it works faster and better.
I know, the bad PR, right?
Yeah.
The bad publicity.
Yeah.
I know, right?
I know also you are a former lawyer, right?
Yes.
So how did it happen that you changed your whole life by changing your profession?
No.
Actually, it's a very complicated decision.
Yeah.
Not everyone can make such kind of decision. Serious profession, you know, to be a lawyer, very responsible as being princess maybe because it's about people's life. So how did it happen?
Well, interestingly enough, I mean, I come from a very academic family, and so it was natural that I would go to the London School of Economics and even become a barrister. And whilst I was at law school, I met Nina Simone, celebrated jazz singer. And she just happened to be at an event, a party my parents were throwing. And I sang one of her songs. I had no idea she was there, honestly.
It was a destiny.
It was destiny, absolutely. And she summoned me and she says,
wow.
Girl, you can sing. And I was like, oh my goodness.
I hear it.
Oh my goodness. And she looked very angry, so I thought she was going to tell me off for singing her song. But she said, no, I hear you're studying law. Well, my advice is that you go back to England, get yourself some lessons, and sing. You were born to sing. That was it.
That was it.
That was it. I went back, I started having lessons, and fate, right? The universe. I got a record deal.
That's courage, actually.
Yeah, I got a record deal and released a single, Joy, which became #1 in Italy.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, several of your songs, I can notice that they have, you know, some motivational message. Most of them.
So clever. That is so true.
One of your hits, Joy, especially.
Yes.
Usually, maybe it's two personal questions, sorry for that in advance. Usually people want to talk about their own story, their own personal experience, their life. Can we conclude that you had maybe some serious difficulties in your career, maybe? I don't know. Is it about you?
Do you know what? It's not so much in my career, but it's even observing people around, just life in general. I don't know, for some reason, I literally, my heart breaks when I see someone going through hardship. My heart literally breaks. If I see, I don't know, somebody on the street, they can't feed their child, or and
it's about empathy.
Yes, empathy. And I believe in the message of empowerment and encouragement. I honestly think we've each been put on this earth for a purpose. And I believe that my purpose is to encourage others, is to uplift.
As a princess?
Just in every way, through my songs, through my TV show, through my personality, I believe that is my purpose. I actually do. And so that's why you'll hear in my lyrics, they're always uplifting, they're always positive, they're to encourage someone.
You were talking about your talk show also.
Yes.
It's very curious.
Yeah, I set up a production house in Ghana, and I started broadcasting this right across the continent. It's called A Different View with Gina West, and it's to encourage the viewer, whether the viewer is in Kazakhstan or the viewer is wherever in the world, to take a different, more positive view of Africa and Africans. Because I think there is this myth of Africa as the dark continent. And, for example, Nigeria, there are more millionaires than, at one stage, there were more millionaires than there were in Russia. But people didn't know that because they think of Africa and they think of the starving child with the...
Actually, Kazakhstani people know because they are usually, I can notice from traveling around the world, they're one of the most well-educated.
Very well-educated.
Did you hear something about Kazakhstan before coming here? It's a very curious question.
You're going to think I'm the most ignorant person on earth. I had heard about Kazakhstan. I've always liked the name Kazakhstan. But...
Головkin, maybe.
No, Gina did not know that it was as far away from London as it was. I had no idea it was 9 hours away. I had no idea. So when I was looking at the flights, I was like, oh my goodness, wait a second. And I even asked, is it a 6 hour flight? And she was like, no, it's more like 9 hours. And I was like, oh my goodness.
Surprise.
Yeah, and it's actually 6 hours ahead of London. I had no idea. Now I know. The Apple City.
Yeah. What can you say your first impression?
I love it. Truly, the people. I met someone on the plane, and he was such a gentleman, genuinely.
Does a princess have power, in considering some... I don't know, crucial problems, maybe some social, maybe politics even. Did you have such kind of experience?
No, because what has happened is that it's really more the bloodline. So I'm a princess by blood, but you're not ruling any longer. You're not ruling.
Not ruling, maybe, I don't
Yeah.
know, maybe solving some problems, I don't know.
Yes, my father does. And my father does, but not because he's from the kings, the line, the royal family, but because he's a chief. So in Africa, chiefs are the ones who, rule. And
Authority.
Yes. Yeah, so he's a chief, and so he does. So people will come to him with issues, but not to me. Thank goodness. Thank goodness. I have enough issues to deal with in my little family nuclear.
Can you, by the way, tell about your personal life? You said you have some kids.
Yes, I have 3 sons.
Wow.
So I'm a mother of sons, no daughters, and then there's the husband and the dog as well. So it's just I'm surrounded by men, by testosterone, and I think that maybe I once upon a time wanted a daughter. But now I'm quite content with what I have. I have soldiers around me, and I love that, actually. I love it.
Actually, it seems very hard. You are a princess, so additional responsibility. You're a woman, you're a singer, you're a popular person, you're a mother. How does women, I don't know, have to keep these multiple roles? How to manage it? What's your secret?
The interesting thing is that, and this is when we're arguing, when my husband and I are having a fight, I say to him, my goodness, I'm superwoman! Because that's how I feel sometimes.
Yeah, you are.
I feel like I'm superwoman because I'm doing this and I'm doing that, and then I come home and I cook.
Yeah, you have to stay beautiful.
And then, exactly. But we do it effortlessly, don't we? effortlessly. She says. We don't think too hard about it.
Enjoy.
Relax, enjoy. Absolutely. I don't take it too seriously. I don't. But you know what? The thing is, one of the things I'm very proud of this year is being signed as a brand ambassador for Bulgaria.
Yeah, by the way, congratulations.
That for me is, yes, because as a result, and that's what's keeping me actually quite busy, which I love. And so that's why I say to my husband, I'm a superwoman, because I go off and I do this glamorous thing, then I come home and I cook, and then I...
As a princess, as a singer, as a lady, as a mother, what would be your main message for all women all around the world?
I would say to women and to girls, to women, because actually you see women who are older and they still haven't found themselves. They haven't achieved that thing. It's still elusive. And I would say to them, just go for it. Just go for it. And when you're going for it, remember your success isn't dependent on anybody else's failure. So you're not in competition with somebody else. Just run your race. It's unique to you. That's what I would say.
Cool. Thank you. The last question would be, what a Nigerian princess does dream about?
The same things every other girl dreams about.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Pink dress?
Yes. Diamonds. No, yeah. Yes, just happiness. Just to be happy. To be content, to feel fulfilled. To feel like you make a difference. Yeah, you were put on this earth for a reason, and you're fulfilling that purpose. That for me is the thing that would, yeah.
Cool. So, thanks for sharing your time, priceless time here in Almaty. Thanks for openness, confidence, and your vibe. All the best, all the good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're lovely. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.